As we all know, food is super expensive right now, so I wanted to share 5 ways that I save money on groceries. Welcome back. My name is Erica. I'm the author of the blog, The Simple Home Place, and this is episode 2 of my Cooking from Scratch series. And as I said in the intro, we're talking all about how to save money on groceries here in 2025. So I don't want to waste any more time. Let's go ahead and get into tip number 1. Tip number 1 is to meal plan. Now, I know you hear this all over the place, and to be honest, I absolutely hate meal planning. But what I will say is that as much as it can be overwhelming and you're searching on Pinterest and you're looking at all these recipes and you just don't know what to choose, I would rather go through that than it be 4 p.m. I have no meat thought out, I have no plan, and I don't know what to make for supper. So I go through the stress of planning out meals and figuring that out for every single week. That way I already know what's on the docket, I know what we have, and we can go ahead and make whatever is planned. Now, what I do is I have 2 kids, so we're a family of 4. My kids are 6 and 8, so what I do is I get suggestions from everybody. And normally I'll fill out about half of the days with their suggestions, and then the other ones I'll either search on Pinterest, or what I have is a note in my phone, and I have kind of like archived meals that we've tried and liked. And so I'll go through those and see if there's any that maybe we'd be interested in. And it depends on the season and what we're feeling. We tend to eat lighter in the summer, heavier in the winter. So it all depends, but that's kind of what I do. And then I come up with usually 6 or 7 meals for an entire week. I have a whiteboard over here that I write all the meals out so that everybody can see what we've got going on for the new week. And then I go grocery shopping. I make my list from that. And we're going to talk about that here in a little bit. But I would highly suggest that you meal plan. There are so many, recipes on Pinterest. And if you have old cookbooks, you could go through that. Instagram, if you're scrolling through that, there's always so many different recipe ideas. There's people that sell cookbooks or ebooks that are free that you can go ahead and source from. I know, speaking from experience, that it can be really stressful and overwhelming. And oftentimes it takes me a while to kind of figure out what we're going to do. But what I will say, again, going back to that note that I have, it's really nice that I can just go through some archived recipes and be like, okay, we haven't had spaghetti in a while. Let's have spaghetti. Or sheet pan nachos is one that we have often. And so I kind of tend to default back to those. I know my family likes them and it's going to be good to go. Now, the thing that I struggle with the most is we're trying to eat healthy, but I also want to make meals that are good for my kids. So I really just try to keep meals simple. I don't do anything extravagant. I always try to have a protein, a carb, and some kind of veggie, or sometimes we'll do fruit. Sometimes if I really just am not feeling it, I'll cut up some apples, and that's kind of another side that we have. But I try to keep it simple. That way it's not as overwhelming. So tip number 1 is meal plan. Have a set idea of what you're going to have for the next week. Now you can switch them up day to day. So if you have, on Monday you're having chili, but you're not really feeling chili, pick a different recipe that you have or a different meal that you have, and it can kind of be versatile that way. And you can just, you're not feeling like making a huge meal. Okay, pick something that's going to be a little bit easier. So that's what I do. It saves a lot of time. And that way, when you're going to the grocery store, you're only buying what you need. You can go shop your pantry and your fridge, see what you've got there, and then you're only buying the things that you need at the store. So that saves you a lot of money. Tip number 2 would be to shop at more than one store. Now, I know that seems a little bit crazy, especially if you just shop at one grocery store, but hear me out. So for as long as I can remember, I've shopped at least 2 grocery stores. When we lived back in Wisconsin, I would shop at Aldi and Costco. Here, we have a little bit of a different situation, and so I shop at Walmart and BJ's. BJ's is like a wholesale type thing. It's kind of like Costco in a miniature version, and so that's what I do. And the reason that I say that is because you can compare prices. Now you can pick whatever stores you want. You can shop at multiple different stores. I just keep it simple with 2, and then there's one-off. Sometimes I'll go to Winn-Dixie if I need something really quick, or sometimes we'll go to Target. But I stick to those 2 main, Walmart and BJ's. And like I said, you can compare prices, right? So BJ's is more of a wholesale thing, and we're going to talk about buying in bulk here in a minute. but I can kind of compare what's going on. So one example that comes to mind is celery. Oftentimes I can get celery cheaper at BJ's. It's not a huge bundle of celery. You can get it cheaper than at Walmart, so that's what I'll do. When it comes to meat, I'll look at the different prices of meat. Different dairy products, like my husband eats a lot of cottage cheese, so I can compare Walmart's prices to BJ's prices, and so on and so forth. And different weeks will come with different coupons, right? Walmart doesn't really do that, but they do, sales and stuff like that. Now, if you're shopping at a more traditional grocery store, a lot of times they have the member perks. So if you're a member, not a member, but you can do you swipe it and it's a free thing. It's not coming to mind right now. But you can get the sale prices. So, depending on what it is, like if they're having a sale on ketchup, for instance, then you might be able to go to that store and get a couple things of ketchup in your stock for a while. They were super cheap, whatever it might be. I pay attention to the prices of the staples that I'm always getting. So milk, eggs, I haven't bought bread so far this year, but bread, flour, sugar, all of that kind of stuff. I really pay attention to the prices. I know that at BJ's, the milk is a lot more expensive. I also know that at Winn-Dixie, it's a lot more expensive compared to Walmart. I can get a better price at Walmart, so that's what I do. And how I am able to look at those prices is I simply go online. So I downloaded the app to Walmart and BJ's, but I also am kind of old school, and I like the pen to paper kind of thing, but I also like looking on my laptop. So anyway, what I'll do when I'm meal planning and I'm figuring out what different ingredients and things I need for the week is I will go on my computer. I have the Walmart website and I have the BJ's website up, and I will go back and forth and go through everything that I need. So if spaghetti is an example. If I need spaghetti, or we're doing spaghetti, I need meat, I need sauce, and I need noodles. So I'm gonna go back and forth between Walmart and BJ's. I know that at Walmart I can get cheaper noodles, so I'm gonna get the noodles there. I know at BJ's I can get a better price on the ground beef, so I'm gonna get that there. And I know that Walmart, the sauce is super cheap and I can get it there. So that's kind of what I do. Now, does that take more time? Yes and no, but I find that if I'm taking the time on the front end, it makes it a lot easier just throughout the week, especially if you're, prepping food or whatever. It's just nice. It just helps with the time situation. So that's what I do. I go back and forth. And the more you do that, if this is something new, it might take you a little bit longer at the beginning. But once you get used to it and you kind of see the patterns of the things that you're buying, which Walmart will tell you, hey, normally you buy this, and it'll suggest that as part of your order. You can add that to your order if you want to. And so that's kind of a nice feature. You'll kind of see those staples and things that you're always buying, and that does make it a lot easier. So that would be my second tip, is to shop at multiple stores to get the best price. Tip number 3 is to do pickup instead of shopping in store. Now, I know for some of you that might be a no-go, because you like looking in the store, you like seeing the quality of produce and just seeing the different things that are available, and I totally get that. Maybe the pickup isn't for you, but here is why I do it. Number 1, it saves me so much time. So in fact, yesterday I went to Walmart. I wasn't grocery shopping, I was looking for a couple other things, but we were in the store for an hour and a half. And that was pretty typical when I was shopping in the stores. Back in the day, that was kind of like our family outing. The 4 of us would go. We had little kids. We'd go to Aldi. It was kind of a trip, right? But it takes a long time. It is taking so long in the store. And so when I go and do a pickup, I can go to 2 different stores in like 30 minutes, especially if, they're right on top of it. I get there and they come out and put everything in my car. Super easy, super fast. I can get home. I can have everything unloaded and all the groceries where they need to be in under an hour. So number 1, it saves time. Number 2, you don't have to deal with all the people. And I don't know about you, but when I take my kids into a store, not that they're bad, they're not doing anything wrong, but one's over here and one's looking at this and one's grabbing this. And it's just like, for me, I can't deal with that. I don't enjoy it because I get some social anxiety. That's been something that I've dealt with for a really long time. And so I just get very overwhelmed and I get sweaty and I just don't enjoy it. Now, do I like going once in a while to kind of look at in the store and be like, oh, I didn't realize they had that. Okay, then I take a mental note of that and I can do it in the online shopping when I'm doing my pickup order. So that's nice sometimes. Sometimes we do that. Sometimes we'll just go as a family, but I, it takes less time to do the pickup. I'm not dealing with all the people. And it's also saves you money. It saves you money because you're not in the store and not getting those impulse buys. You're not being like, oh yeah, we need this, so whatever. Let's just buy that. It's no big deal. And by the time you get to the cash register, your bill is like way more than you anticipated. And so by shopping online and doing the pickup, you are only getting what you need. And what I do is I really consciously think, like, do we actually need this week? Can this wait for another week? Is this an absolute necessity? And by doing that, I know that I'm saving money because I'm not adding in those extra things that really we don't need right now and they can wait. And we're not doing the impulse buys when we're in the store because those really, really add up. The other reason that I like doing a pickup is honestly, it's safer. If you're a female and shopping at night, that is a fear, right? Now, most times you're going to be just fine, but it is the reality of the world that we live in. And so by not shopping in the store, not bringing your kids in the store and worrying about where they are and doing all the things, or shopping at night, or whatever your circumstance might be, it is safer to be doing the pickup. And I'm kind of a biggie on safety. That's not really the number reason why I'm doing the pickup, but that is another factor to think about. So doing pickups saves time and it saves money. All right, tip number 4 is to buy ingredients instead of prepackaged things. Now, I feel like we kind of talked about that last week, and I talked about it over on Instagram a little bit, but I prefer to buy ingredients. I saw something on Instagram about being an ingredients house, and that is so us, because we do make a lot of the stuff from scratch. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm not buying any prepackaged food, right? But I am reducing the amount of the prepackaged food that I'm buying. Not only does it save money, obviously, but it's healthier. We all know that. And convenience items are always going to be more expensive. So if I can, I always have some things in stock. I already talked about that last week. So I have all the staples that I need: flour, sugar, butter, eggs, milk, things that I can just whip up, muffins or a snack or something for my family for the week. So buying ingredients instead of those prepackaged things does save money. It does add time though. So I feel like I've kind of touched on the time and money thing. It does take more time to do those things. What I've been trying to get into is the meal prepping, right? Where one day a week, sometimes it's on Mondays to be honest, because the weekend is over, kids are back in school, my husband's at work, and I can just go ahead and really quickly meal prep something, a snack, whatever for the week. But that's kind of something that you have to consider, right? Not all of us have the ability to stay home, or, we're all busy, we all have things going on. So that is definitely something to consider, but when possible, buy ingredients instead of those prepackaged convenience type items. And I think that saves a lot of money in the long run. Okay, tip number 5 is to buy in bulk. Now, I will say that not everything should be bought in bulk. It's not necessarily a good thing, especially if you're not going to be using it or storing it properly. You probably shouldn't be buying it in bulk. But for those items that you are constantly using up, going through, again, I'm going to refer back to flour and ground beef and chicken and butter and eggs. Those types of things, if you know that you're going through those really quickly, then you should look into buying them in bulk. Now, when it comes to proteins and meat, I think it's the way to go. Not all of us can get a half a cow and store it in a freezer. I don't have the space where I live to do that. But what I can do is go to BJ's and get a 5-pound thing of ground beef. And I have it in my notebook here. I wanted to just show you some comparisons in prices, right? So when it comes to the ground beef, we're just doing 80-20 beef. At Walmart, 1 pound of 80-20 beef is $5.33. And then at BJ's, I can get a 5-pound tube of it And when you break it down, the cost per pound is $2.89. So that is a huge difference when it comes to the price per pound. Now, again, we're going back to the convenience, right? Where 1 pound package at Walmart, I can just throw that in the skillet and go, whereas I have to divide up the 5 pound tube. Does it take that long? No, not really. It's not that big of a deal for me because I'm saving so much money and we're going through it and using it. That might be an issue for you. Or if your family, if it's one of you or just two of you, then maybe that's not the way to go. You have to kind of decide, again, what you're going through a lot and what makes the most sense. But for my family, we do go through the ground beef pretty frequently. So I'm going to buy the cheaper of my two options, right? When it comes to butter, at Walmart, it's $3.96 per pound for the salted butter and $3.44 per pound at BJ's. Now, again, when you're buying in bulk, you got a more of an upfront cost. But the thought process is, again, you are saving per pound or per whatever it is, and then you don't have to buy it that often, right? Like, for instance, butter. I will get the butter and put it in the freezer because it freezes for I don't know how long, and you pull it out, thaw it, it's good as new. It's amazing. Same with the ground beef and chicken. I'll just say I get a big thing of frozen chicken breasts. I think it's Tyson, whatever. It's from BJ's. The BJ's price is $2.59 a pound, and Walmart is $2.67 a pound for kind of samesies. Now, that's not a huge difference in cost. So again, you have to kind of think like, am I going through this enough where it makes sense for me to buy in bulk? And if the answer is no, then go with the smaller thing, right? It's, again, not that much. But when we have all of these little differences in price and you're paying just a little bit less for this and a little bit less for that, it adds up over time. And I don't know about you, but right now, every cent counts. And because everything is so expensive, it's just, we need to save money where we can, and if that's a priority for you, then this is something to look into. I've got some other options. Check on Instagram. I am sharing more over there. Again, more of that daily or every other day kind of content related to the video that I've got going on that week. So this week, again, is saving money on groceries. The other thing I will say that I didn't mention, this is kind of a side note that I forgot, is to buy generic or store brands. Now, I have done this for years, and there really are some things that just aren't as good as the brand name, okay? Let's take Oreos, for example. Now, I don't really buy Oreos very often, but if you're gonna compare the Walmart brand of Oreos to the Oreo brand, Oreo is gonna be better, right? But there's a lot of things that are same, or really similar where you could just get by, Like I don't buy name brand milk. I always buy the Walmart brand of milk, great value. Cheese and eggs and those kinds of things. I don't necessarily care about the name brand. I care more about the cost because they're so similar. So that's another kind of little side note that I wanted to really quickly mention. But yeah, those are 5 ways that I save money on groceries. And I will say that you might not see a huge difference at first, but over time, it really does add up. And taking those steps, if you're not doing some of them already, I think is gonna help your budget and how much you're spending on groceries every week or every month or however often that you're shopping. So that's gonna do it for this video. I hope that you learned something new. I hope this was valuable to you. If you have any questions or other suggestions of ways that you save money on groceries, I would love to hear from you down in the comments. So go ahead and leave that down there. If you're new here and you're interested in videos like this, or DIYs, homemaking type videos, I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel. You can also hit the bell notification and it'll notify you every time I upload a new video. As I said before, if you want some more daily content or every other day, you can go ahead and follow me over on Instagram. It's at The Simple Home Place. But yeah, thank you so much for being here. I really, truly, and greatly appreciate you, and I'll see you next time.